Hey everyone, this is Marlon and welcome back to the UnknownHobo. And today we're going to be doing our mid-season review. But if I actually had to put an episode number on it, it would be episode 6.5 for season 1. Now, if there is a topic that you'd like me to speak about, you can definitely reach out to me depending on how you're listening to this. You can either comment below or you can send me a DM on Instagram or Twitter or email me at theunknownhobo@yahoo.com. So today we're going to be talking about, as I said, some of our older topics to see if there's been any big updates. Some of these I might refer back to my original podcast episode. And the only reason why is because maybe nothing's really changed. And I don't want to reiterate a whole podcast episode when you can just go listen to that. And there'll be a lot more substance in there. So let's start off with TikTok. That's one of the main things that I knew wasn't going to really be any big change. Now, if you haven't really been keeping up, Donald Trump did put an executive order that was like a 45-day timeline for people to kind of cut ties with China or companies that kind of deal with China in certain ways. TikTok was removed from all government-issued devices. So the deadline is coming up. So I would love to see what actually happens with that, to see if Microsoft actually ends up buying TikTok or if another company does it. Now, if you want to know more details about that, and if you do want to hear what my actual what my actual thoughts are in a little bit more depth, I would say definitely check that episode out. It has a little bit more in there. As I said, just a review. Now, let's go over to the stimulus check, which is actually pretty upsetting for the most part, because from like 2 months now, the government's been saying, yo, we're gonna do this timeline, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Now, the actual Senate should be coming back into play actually today. And the Republicans put up 2 bills. So there's a big bill, which was like $4.3 trillion stimulus package. And that has a stimulus check in there. And they have another one, which is a skinny bill. Now, the skinny bill is around 500 to 700 billion, depending, because I can always adjust. That does not have a stimulus check in there. And they're going to be voting on the skinny one, which apparently Democrats are saying, oh, they're going to fight it ferociously. Which, yeah, I'm very happy about that, because I'm a big supporter of the whole stimulus check thing, because it's really crazy that we're throwing all this money out at people. Like, yeah, you're a business, here's some money. Yeah, you're a business, here's some money. Cool. You're giving all these businesses money so they can stay open, which, yes, they get money, they stay open, they can hire people. But like, they've dragged their foot so long on this that people got fired already. And unemployment is barely non-existent. There might be people out there that have multiple jobs that don't even get unemployment. Now, everybody's like, oh, well, you can kind of sign up for partial unemployment. I know down here in Florida, one of the questions on there, are you still working more than 32 hours? Let's say if you have 2 jobs, you might still have your main job, which is full-time over 32 hours. But let's say if you have another part-time job, you're working maybe 15, 20 hours on the weekends or something, and you lost that. That is a ton of income that's completely gone, and you can't even really collect unemployment. Now, if I am wrong on that, at least maybe in Florida, definitely, as I said, send me a message. If wherever you listen to, comment below and let me know about that. Because like when I checked it out, you can apply for unemployment if you work more than 32 hours, which is kind of sucky for those people that work multiple places because they're working harder than everybody else. Now, the Democrats are talking about how they're going to fight against this. It's just so stupid because like Nancy Pelosi is just not refused to budge. Everybody is just really stupid. Like, I really hope that, which would be cool, which is not going to happen. It would be nice if they did a retroactive thing where they're like, you know what, let's give everybody $2,000 retroactively or something. But there's a ton of people out there that's like suffering from this. Now, if you want to know a little bit more about the timeline and what my thoughts were as this stuff was progressing, I actually have 2 episodes of my podcast where I did speak about this when they originally put a timeline down and how excited I was for it because I thought they were going to stick to this timeline. And now one vacation later, and they came back and did an emergency vote for the post office because they wanted to make sure people voted for them. I'm like, are you kidding me? So you came back to vote for the post office so you can be voted in because you want to make sure your priorities are met, but you didn't care about the American people. It's ridiculous. But definitely go check both those podcast episodes out if you want a little bit more detail with that. Now, one of the other topics that really hasn't changed, which is two. There's going to be Thunderbolt 4 with Intel, and we're going to talk about it. Microsoft and LinkedIn team up for their trainings. There hasn't been much update with the Microsoft and Intel training stuff, which is to be expected. It's a whole training process. So, and that's it's not even been a few months. So I probably might hit up that topic again, maybe as a last episode for the season, or maybe sometime in season 2. I'll go back to those topics. Thunderbolt 4, once that actually gets released with the next wave of Intel processors, I'll probably have a little more hands-on with that. So I'll share my thoughts and feelings on that next season, because I'm definitely looking forward to that. Now let's jump over to more current events, because we hit some current events for the most part. Joe Biden's campaign, which I personally think is a mess. Now there's people out there that's like, yeah, I hate Donald Trump. Oh, I hate Joe Biden. That's cool. That's the nice part about it. You can have your feelings about either or. That's the best part. And I will not chastise anybody for having feelings about either or. But like this whole thing where I was reading online, they have this thing called the Red Mirage. Now what it is, it's going to show that Donald Trump is going to win by a landslide prior to this whole like mailing voting thing going on. Now everybody's fighting against it like, oh, he's stopping mailing voting for my grandma that can't go to the ballot box. I'm like, if I read correctly, no, he's not. He's not trying to stop any of that. What he's trying to stop is universal, everybody is just going to get mailed a ballot at home, which I understand the premise for fraud in there. Now, yes, of course you can say, well, it's not, you're the people that are arguing against the fraud, at least I'm hoping they are, they're arguing based on humanity's supposedly good nature. But I mean, there's always going to be that one, what is that, wolf in the hen house or whatever the random saying is. So I'm not a big supporter of just sending mass voting ballots out to everybody. Make it so they can request it. Make it a little bit easier. I do something like, but the fact that they're showing from walking in and not mailing votes, but like walking and physically voting, Donald Trump will win ridiculously comparison to just sending out a wave of mail votes. And then everybody is going to be, it's going to literally be, oh, Donald Trump loses, ridiculous. It's going to be a complete switch. That is mad sketch. And if nobody thinks that's sketchy, I don't know how to help you, because that is sketch. Went from a drastic landslide to completely being swapped. Really sketchy. Now, I know in the future, voting's probably going to get to the point where it's done by your phone or something like that, with some sort of 2 or 3 factor authentication. Because apparently, according to Twitter, with the issue that happened with them, which if you don't know, due to social engineering, which if you know what social engineering is, pretty much you go somewhere, pretend you work there for extended period of times, and slowly like get to different areas of the company and access different things because they think, oh, well, you work here anyway. Social engineering, definitely look it up. It's something really interesting to look at. It makes you keep an eye on the people that's around you. But we found out people were able to get into other people's Twitter accounts even though they had 2-factor authentication. So who knows? We might get 3-factor. I don't know. Every time you want to use you vote, you just dab some blood and tap it on your phone. You never know. So outside of that, which I still don't like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden is a mess because like they've both progressively, if people want to talk about the black vote, they both themselves have done really bad things for black community as a whole. They're chastising. I think they pretty much chastise their whole campaign's based off like race for the most part. And I think they pretty much chastised everybody. And the reason why I say that is because they only, from everything I watch from back in the day up till now, they just say what's convenient. For whatever crowd it is, they just say what's convenient. So I would definitely say, listen to my old podcast. Same thing for that. One thing I did say is jump back to 2015 and just read about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris from 2015 and back. You can do 2015 and forward when they kind of enter the campaign world. But if you do 2015 and back, you'll see what the news actually thought about them when they didn't need to really support them or the mainstream media. Now, let's jump over to some more tech stuff. So Redmi, their 98-inch TV, that's ridiculously cheap. Yeah, I mean, nothing's going to change with that. Well, nothing's going to change with that. I don't know why I just mumbled that like crazy. So nothing much to say. So let's jump over to the Neuralink, which is the most recent thing I did speak about on my most recent podcast. Now, once again, this is another topic that there's not going to be a ton of updates about, which is expected. It's something to do with your brain. Updates are going to come as time progresses. I am still ridiculously excited about it, but we'll see as time progresses. I'm definitely going to be hitting this up in season 2 of my podcast. And that's pretty much the only real big reviews that I do have for all of these issues. Now, as I stated before at the beginning, I definitely would love to hear what your thoughts are, some topics you'd like me to speak about. As I said, wherever you are listening to this podcast, comment below, send me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you can find me, just send me a DM so I can actually see something cool. If there's any videos or anything you'd like me to take a look at and share my thoughts on, definitely share it that way. I would definitely like to say thank you to everyone that's listened this far, because it's pretty close to the end of this episode. But I do want to say thank you to everyone that's listened to my podcast up to this episode. I just started it out and I don't know where it's going to aim. And if you've actually listened to this mid-season review, definitely do want to say thank you, because at this point, even one more person listening to my podcast is very exciting for me. Is just one random person listening to me say a bunch of weird stuff? It's pretty exciting for me, and it gives me that much more hope that the more and more I do this, the more and more people I reach out to, and the journey to see what's on the other side of this, or maybe not the other side, but I say a year later from doing this, my drastic improvements and quality changes and just what I'm talking about. And who knows, might start getting some guests. Probably not going to get like Joe Rogan, but you never know. I might get that Joe Rogan's like second removed twin brother cousin named Todd Rogan. I don't know. So I definitely want to say I do appreciate everybody. I think that's about it. Minus my stuttering all over the place. The next episode, which is season 7, or episode 7, not season 7, episode 7 is going to be coming out later this week. And we're halfway there to the end of the season, which is pretty cool. Now, besides that, as always, thanks for listening, and I will see you guys later.